After a lot of faffing around, the initial plan failed. The springs, the initial plan was to get this mounted with the springs in place already over here. However, no matter what I tried, this bolt over here, I could just not get it in. How's it going, everyone? So today we're in the garage with my CFMOTO 450MT and we're going to be installing the OEM center stand on this bike. So let's head over to the workbench and get it unpacked. Okay, so I've unpacked this on the workbench. This is obviously the center stand piece. It's quite a sturdy, relatively well built product by the feel of it. Comes with a few items like the springs, some random bolts, nuts, those type of things, and a few of the plates, these side plates that will be attached to the motorcycle, and so on. So I've heard that there's quite a bit of issues when it comes to getting these springs to be tensioned and placed on the bike. So after looking at a few other videos online and reading up about it a little bit, it seems like the best thing that we can do is construct this entire thing on the workbench first and then put it on the bike. Okay, so this is what the complete assembly should look like. These pieces should be able to move freely, and I've put some grease in, and also just don't forget the most outside washer like I almost did on there. And then once it's all together, you can put the cotter pins through, and it should all keep it together, and a little bit of grease goes a long way on these as well. Okay, so this is kind of where I didn't follow what the manual was saying, and I think there's a lot of other people online that have reported similar problems when it comes to getting these springs installed when this entire bracket is actually on the bike already. So when you mounted this onto the bike and the whole stand is on the bike, you need an immense amount of force to be able to get these springs to tension so you can put this put them in, which is quite a tricky process. So a big thank you to Rubberneck Rides on YouTube for suggesting the idea of using the cable ties to put the springs onto the stand before you mount it on the bike. So I've got quite a number of cable ties I've used here around each of the hooks to keep the hooks in place. And then I've also just put one big one around the two springs, and then I've mounted it to the actual stand itself. So when mounting it, if this moves in any way, the springs are going to always be connected to the stand. They're not going to be able to fall off. So it's a little bit of a elaborate cable tie configuration, but yeah, I think that will work to keep everything in place. So yeah, the next step from here on is to get this mounted on the bike itself. Okay, so we've removed I've removed the bolt on this side and the cover on the other, and I've now placed the stand underneath the bike. I've gone back to the manual for this then, so we can follow from there again. There are two M820s, I think, like I have here. These two are for this side of the bracket over there, so I'll put those ones aside. And then the only difference on the other side, according to the manual, for 14 and for 13, they're saying we must use one of the MA20s and the other one must be a MA25, so it's a slightly longer screw.
One eternity later.
Okay, so I'm back, and after a lot of faffing around, the initial plan failed. The springs, the initial plan was to get this mounted with the springs in place already over here. However, no matter what I tried, we'll move around to the other side of the bike shortly, but there's two bolts on the other side that need to go in, and no matter what I tried with that, this bolt over here, I could just not get it in. It doesn't matter how loose I had the ones on the opposite side or how much play there was on this entire thing, I unfortunately couldn't get it in. So yeah, I went back to the drawing board with it, and yeah, these are the two over here which I had to put in initially, or else I couldn't get the other side on. I tried it in reverse, where I tried to get the other bolt in on the other side, and then these two, but then they didn't line up either. So yeah, I think I'm going to be calling it a day for now, and I have another plan that I want to try tomorrow to see if we can possibly get this the spring on, or these springs on, and tensions, because there's not a lot of there's not a lot of distance the spring has to travel, but it just seems like such a pain to get this spring on. So tomorrow there's another plan in place. Anyway, it's time for a beer.
After feeling a bit defeated the previous day, I woke up with a positive mindset the next morning. I headed out to the local hardware store and I purchased a ratchet strap, rope, and a few other odds and ends that I thought may help get the job done. So this is what I landed up doing. I attached the ratchet strap to the crash bars around the front forks. At the other end of the strap, I tied to the thickest piece of rope that I could thread through the small plate that attaches the springs to the stand, and I cranked away at the ratchet, praying that it would not snap the rope. After a few nail-biting moments, the plate snapped into place and job done. What a relief. It just shows that with the right tools, it makes any job easy. This is the final result. If you found this video useful, please consider liking and subscribing. Thanks for watching.